welcome back to another episode of Lux Invictus. I hear third time's the charm. Hello 1.18, auto jump being turned on apparently for the new installation. Just fix that. And I'm also trying out a Vanilla Tweaks resource pack, which includes grass actually extending right the way down the blocks. And leaves. And let's check how far I am from 0-0. It's important that I end up centering along east for my final house. And even better news, it looks like I'm not going to be stuck with snowy plains as my only biome for this. Okay, my 1.18 light level overlay appears to be different, and I don't know what the code is for this. I'm going to turn light level overlay off and run under the assumption that if I continue to light things up as per 1.17, I run no risk of running afoul of inadequate lighting. I may as well also use the starting over fresh in a brand new world as an opportunity to do a refresher on the Lux Invictus challenge. Lux Invictus is me setting out to do a light-themed challenge run in hardcore. I've got a bunch of varying tasks I need to do, some on-theme build palettes, and an increasing series of restrictions that will be added as I get through varying tasks. Right now, the only two restrictions are these. 1. I am not allowed to operate in full darkness. Or at least, I am not allowed to mine a block that is in full darkness, nor interact with, say, a chest or crafting table in full darkness. And restriction 2, I'm not allowed to wear iron armor. Okay, actually, I am only allowed to wear gold or diamond armor. Good news is, though, I'm still allowed to use shields, and that's where most of one's survivability comes from, out of early game armor anyway. Provided one uses it correctly, and arguments could be made on wolves. Oh, that's a windfall. Especially if I can figure out where the rest of the village is. And don't get cursed with another setting that I need to fix. That is not a easily convenient village. That is the exact opposite of convenient village. Ah! Okay, I had misidentified which of the chords I was off by. But it meant that I found this nightmare of a village over here, so I'll take that as a nominal success. And as for why I'm being so pedantic about east-west alignment, one of the early tasks I have is to construct a temple along the 0 east, 0 west line. And that means knowing where that line is, and then running along that line until I find a good enough piece of terrain that I'd be willing to actually construct a temple there. This is mildly adequate, but would involve a non-trivial amount of terraforming, if I were to choose to build my temple here. And it's getting on towards evening, which means I'm about to engage with Minecraft Night in the appropriate manner for one who, A, worships the sun, and B, believes in not getting murdered by monsters as the appropriate way of playing this game. I'm not certain I like the Bushier Leaves resource here. Let me know in the comment section whether or not you think this resource pack works, or if I should change it out for a version that doesn't include extra bushy leaves. I'm gonna keep exploring out this way for another 100 blocks or so, and if that doesn't find me a good location to build a temple, I'll just go back to my terribly aligned mountain range. Back to the mountains it is. From this angle, I would say that that still looks like a lovely place to construct a temple, which means somewhere around here I should build my starter base. However, I have enough torches to actually head into, I think, some of the caves I've seen dotted on around, because it doesn't look like I'm going to be perfectly lucky with surface iron. I will say the new caves are a lot more light and airy feeling, even if they are just as much of a death trap, if not more so, because it's a lot harder to properly watch the ceiling for holes. And here we have a tiny amount of iron, but it still counts. And yes, I'm going to continue lighting this as if this were 1.17, despite the lighting updates. This is a light unconquered run, and do you think a little thing like light levels no longer being as important is going to stop me? And that is not the sound or sight of a skeleton, so I don't care. Andesite does still exist, right? Oh, it actually worked. This cave does not find me any andesite. I will give up and use a mix of diorite and granite. Okay, I might give up anyway because that's not a cave formation that I like. On the other hand, this is the brand new start of a hardcore world, so if the cave formation betrays me, it's not like there's much of a loss. Oi! Back up. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna get backstabbed from that direction. Well, I finally found andesite, but I'm not safe to mine it until after I've absolutely flooded this place in light. .18 caves are terrifying. How am I supposed to make this safe? Good news is, though, I get to see things coming from about a mile away. Bad news is, I get to see things coming from about a mile away, which means that if I ever actually advance my Lux Invictus run far enough, I'm going to find myself obliged to fight an awful lot of things. And leaving that right there was a death trap. But since, as we've established, this entire cave is an absolute death trap, I'm not certain it makes much of a difference. time I get this collapsed to being almost a cave I can deal with, I think I'm going to start smelting. Just so I can have a shield. And it's a lot harder in the new cave setup to block off caves I don't like. Because this might not be safe, per se. But that's a far enough lighted perimeter that with any luck, I'll still be alive when that iron finishes smelting. I'm not certain 2 stacks of andesite is going to be enough, but I haven't quite decided how I'm going to apply my build palette. I just have an idea for the shape of the starter house. Now, can I figure out how to get back out of this cave? Ooh, pumpkins. Ha! I knew this was the right hill. Will you be my friend? Protect me from skeletons? Best friend. Please don't get yourself killed. And you know what? I feel like this little section of coastline, where I found my sweet berries and where I found my wolf. Good doggo. Is as good a spot as any to pick for my starter base. Now, to figure out which direction my front door is going to be. Which off-theme block am I going to use? Let's go with spruce as my off-theme flooring. No, I'm not convinced by that as my corner pillars. What I'm seeing there is that this is going to need to be extended so that the diagonal lines up. Because by the corner, that should be up to full first-story roof height. You think that's enough radius for the inner courtyard? Yeah, I think it is. Good doggo, but could you be a good doggo over there? Okay, you know what? I've changed my mind on what's going on over here. And which way I'm orienting things. And meanwhile, we put the first tower block over here. And there we have the approximate initial floor plan for this house. Except, I think I am going to put an extra tower block on over in this corner. There we go, we have my floor plan. And that's going to be where I put the in-house mine shaft, or tunnel entrance. But I really need to figure out what I'm going to use as my pillars. Never mind, I know what I'm using as my pillar. Okay, actually I'm going to try 2 different variants on this. Maybe 3. I will keep trying variants on this until I find one I like. How's that? Ah, pillagers! Good news is they appear not to see me. That's far too flat. Yeah, that creates a nice impression of depth. Not sure I like the color. As you can kind of see from my build process, I tend not to have a fully planned out build in advance, so much as experimenting on the fly to see what works and what doesn't. This means that I get to have a lot more fun with the actual building of it, and get more invested in it being built in my hardcore world. But it also means that my build process may involve certain back and forth bits. That window might be far more open than anyone sensible would be comfortable with. But as long as I put some glass panes in here, that should work. Alternatively, I'm going to experiment with one other block that I may or may not use later. I have no idea what I'm doing with the window, but I like it. And I'm not certain whether or not that's spider-proof. But it's less obviously not spider-proof, so that's still a step up. I wish woodcutters were baseline. Come on, Minecraft, add me the ability to just easily process wood. And let's overlight this until it glows. How poorly does that connect? Very. The thing about having actual wall blocks for my walls is that anything that would be trying to line up against the wall doesn't. Which means that I either need to set things into the wall or have them pointedly not touching the wall. Which means that at least a few of my walls are going to be just ordinary birch walls, so that I can actually have things line up against them nicely. The nice thing about barrels, though, is that they don't have to line up as perfectly against the wall. I can just comfortably do something like that, sitting over in the corner, and it looks fine. I take back what I said. Wall blocks are the bane of my existence. That block elevation for the dirt roof isn't high enough. Which creates added problems that it needs to spread on up. Spread, darn you. And that's actual dirt height. With me filling in the old ceiling height with some other block, but it needs to be 2 blocks thick, so that when I start playing games with water up here, I don't have it dripping through my ceiling. And I've got far too many things running off of 2-block symmetry, which is terrible. But it at least makes my doors line up. I have the worrying thought that my brilliant idea is not going to be quite as brilliant when I actually build it. But it's also not done, and hopefully I will like it more as it grows towards completion rather than liking it less. Let's hope. Come on, Final Build, don't let me down. I believe in you. What do I want to actually use as the crossbeam here? More birch logs, I suppose. Though I think for a change of pace, the ceiling birch can stay its original color. Wow. I don't even have enough cobblestone to make another replacement stone pick. I guess I'm going to get the most amusingly on-theme achievement And I know, there are plenty of caves, especially ones I've already discovered. But one of the nice things about doing that is that I get to skip a lot of my panic about going outdoors. I'm aware that the outdoors can come to me through gaps like that. And the more I look at those doors, the more I am convinced that they are in the wrong spot and need to go over here. I will fix that later. Right now, I have more stone to get. Oh, and I didn't even need to make an iron pick because I had a stone pickaxe in my inventory. I am doing well this episode. And the site. How lovely to see. Cave. Less lovely. Still, it's what looks to be fully waterlogged, mostly waterlogged. Let's... No! Oh well, I've learned my lesson. Okay, and it's gonna be a pain to light this on up, because water is deceitful and looks far brighter than it actually is, and I don't have my diving gear, and I'm used to the sort of timing I could manage in a full kit of respiration equipment. And every air pocket all along gets its own torch. This is how I attained a bare minimum standard of overlighting the heck out of this place. And I'm aware that I am violating the Minecraft cardinal rule about digging straight up. Too bad. Rules are made to be broken. And that comes back out to that lake. Okay, the irony of this is ridiculous. I suppose that's one way of doing this. Makes it a lot easier to see how bright it actually is. And that's the sort of cave formation that I'm really glad is underwater. I had considered for a bit playing around as a modded whatever as a Merling, and here I am getting the full Merling experience. Sort of. Okay. Ow. Ow. Time to go recover some food and some health and... I miss having Depth Strider. And let's just fill in that last stretch of walls so that I don't have to worry as much about things sneaking up on me. Like that witch I see over there. Don't trust it. Ah, great, more pillagers. I hate it. And now for the cool idea I had. I'm probably going to want to put in sugarcane later to keep this nice and bounded. Stop it flowing everywhere and flooding everything. And there we go, that ends up actually working out as nice and neat. And I see you, pillager. One chicken on the first try. That's good. Switch still there. I don't know and I can't see, and that's too many trees too close to my base. Some of them are going to have to move. Because I need clearer, safer sight lines. Okay, actually no, that should not be a pumpkin. There in the corner should be wheat. The pumpkin's probably going to grow into the wheat, but a pumpkin there would not have anywhere valid it could grow except on top of one of my other pumpkin stems, which would be highly inconvenient. And let's move my stonecutter to being somewhere I'm less likely to step on it. Ooh, I can put that up against the wall nicely. That's good. And now let's just clear out the trees around my base so that I can actually see what I'm doing. If I get a third pillager patrol loitering around my base, that's just gonna be so annoying to deal with. And sure, things can get past a Sweetberry barricade, but it helps make me feel slightly more safe and comfy. How wide is this after I put in the granite framing? Not quite wide enough. Now I don't have Silk Touch, so I can't fix it if this doesn't work. Okay, that might not work, but it doesn't work in an entertaining way. So, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep it like that. Exactly like that. It's hilarious. I love it. Because it is just so perfectly, stupidly wrong, and it's beautiful. And that's just a slight improvement on that design. Given that that gives me just that little bit of window. I think those, however, need to be birch planks. Yep, that's better. That's some really good luck with chickens. Okay, no, that's a window condition. It should have just that splash of extra energy. And yeah, that looks much better. Approximately complete. And at approximately complete with all of the diorite on in, the unstripped, or the stripped birch gives this lovely, soft, warm contrast. And I'm going to have to fill in that crevice. I'm just going to proceed under the assumption that I will find more uses for birch leaves. Lovely, lovely birch leaves. And azalea might be an oak variant, but if I ever find one, or some moss, you will absolutely see flowering azalea leaves dotted on around my build, because they are best bushes. I know, this is the Lux Invictus run, and so I'm supposed to talk up the sacred value of... That's too many pillagers. I don't like it. And of course, the longer it takes me to deal with the pillagers, the harder it's going to be. Fortunately, I still have one potential path to freedom from pillagers here. Besides tunneling on out from my mine shaft and ignoring them into perpetuity. And that is sailing out into the distance far enough for them to stop being loaded. Because they won't reload, and actually, I have enough wood to do that. Let's just reset my stacks of pillagers. And utilize my pickaxe powers to keep adding doors where there are not supposed to be doors in my build. I swear they were pointing crossbows at me like they knew I was there. Why did I not get shot full of 5 crossbow bolts? And hey, who knows, maybe I'll find something useful out doing this. And I will come back from my pilgrimage with coal. That feels appropriate, somehow. Still, that looks like less pillagers than went before I left. So let's continue utilizing my sneaky back door. Now, when I come around the corner like this, ta-da! No pillagers! My magic trick worked! Isn't it always lovely when my magic tricks work? Now let's go back to my cottage core and not panicking about invading armies. Or any such nonsense. Alright, and the nice thing about this is that it makes it really easy to get down on that side if I'm not a fool. Which is highly debatable. Speaking of foolish things to do while I wait for some trees to grow. Let's sneak on up this way. And extend my perimeter of bright light. Just so that I don't have this looming darkness. Okay, that's a formation. That is definitely a cave formation. I imagine that's going to look better when I have the actual full grass and andesite and water on it. But I think I like it. I think that's finally come together into something I like. And I suppose that's a good enough spot to end this episode. With a base that at least sort of suggests what it's going to look like later. That area is going to get prettied up a lot more, be it full garden, have a decorative tree hanging over, nice railings. And there'll be a second floor up there. How did I miss that hole in the wall?